Welcome to the EFL report on the way, joined once again by the Commish, Matt Valentine. Matt, welcome back.
Thank you.
We're here to recap Week 10, look ahead to recap Week 9, look ahead to Week 10. Let's just address the elephant in the room. We're sorry, Taylor Park boys.
Really sorry.
Yeah. In hindsight, that looked pretty awful going into.
It
Week 9.
looked really bad. Swift had not been ruled out. Komet was there. I know they were playing the Bengals, but in no way, shape, or form, Kyle Monangai and Loveland putting up 60. That was not on my bingo card.
I think Loveland had, on the last play, on the last touchdown he caught the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
I think he had the same amount of points in that one play than he did all year. Like that's what it felt like. At least.
100%. And I know. Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just sorry. That was just not not our best take.
This is what we do here. This is of course, this is sports. This is why we do the EFL league. So that led to a huge week for the Taylor Park boys.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that just in a few minutes. But he had a monster week thanks to the Bears stack.
The Bears stack and Rico Dowdle going nuclear.
Again.
Yeah.
He had another great week. He's been having a lot of great weeks. That pickup was big for the Taylor Park boys.
Yeah.
They desperately needed a running back, and Rico Dowdle has been awesome.
Yeah, he's been legit.
So let's look at the toilet bowl of the week from Week 9. Who do you have as your worst matchup?
It was a pretty easy pick.
I hate to pin this on you.
But I had my own matchup. It was the Buck and the Duck picking up our first win in over a month against the Gritty Kings, where neither of the teams put up 93.
Yeah, I made this comment on the Sunday recap, but after the 4 p.m. slot, you guys combined for 123.9 points. Taylor Park Boys himself had more than that after 1. So that just told the story about how bad both your teams played.
Yeah, we made a huge trade. We gave up Genty, who scored like 17. We gave up Marv, who had his best game of his entire year. We gave up Bucky Irving for Jahmyr Gibbs, thinking this was like a consistent play. 4.3.
Yeah, that's a good. No, I totally forgot about that trade. Yeah, it didn't work out so well. It should.
So far, it has not worked out so far, but it's early, and turns out Sam Darnold is him.
Yeah, that Seattle offense is gonna be humming.
Yeah,
they look really good. Sam Darnold and JSN look like they've been playing together for the past 5 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, JSN every play just looks the most wide open I've ever seen.
The most wide open, and they refuse to really run the ball that much with Kenneth Walker, even though they run the most out of any league in the percentage. They're like the least efficient in running the ball. However, but when they pass out of it, they're really good. The Seahawks are going to be a really good team. And then they made some moves during the deadline.
Yeah, they got Rashid Shaheed.
And they got Shaheed. So they're going to be forced to pass more.
Right.
Still, really great team. Sam Darnold, came in clutch for you guys.
Yeah, great team. Terrible matchup. The Gritty Kings just took a nosedive. I think they had one guy over 12. Jamar Chase was supposed to put up like 20. Only put up 16. Our team was terrible. Like Kareem Hunt was our only non-quarterback to score a touchdown. It was really gross.
0.2 from Kamara on the other side. Yeah, it was a rough day for the Gritty Kings. He's now tied with Baker for third in the division at 3-6, and you're also 3-6, tied with Osama. It's a lot of 3-6 teams.
It is half of our league.
Half of the league is 3-6. It's crazy. It always I feel like it always happens this way, where there's some wild record at some point during the year.
Right, and it's interesting to see how it'll play into next week. I know we'll talk about it in a little bit, but
now, so that was the worst. Now we'll look at the good. Game of the week for me was Hang with Mr. Hernandez versus We Want the Beer Mile. That was my pick coming into Week 9. A lot of points.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Hernandez.
Crazy number of points. I mean, two guys basically dropped 40.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like Brock Bowers before halftime of his game had 2.5. And then you check again, 39. Oh my gosh.
It's insane. I know we want the Beer Mile was somehow not fully healthy going into this matchup. They're still missing Bucky Irving, but their team just everyone was contributing.
Still missing Bucky Irving and putting up 140, I think it was. Yeah, 140 points. They're going to be a scary team.
Yeah.
They're going to be very good in the next few weeks. Just to kind of recap the breakdown of this game, the score was 157.05 to 93.62 in Mr. Hernandez's favor. The Beer Mile had 4 guys going on Monday Night Football: Marvin Harrison Jr., Aubrey, Pickens, and McBride. So we needed a big week, but it was definitely doable. They got 50 points from those 4 players. Still, you put up a lot of points, it's always going to benefit for you.
Right.
It's going to benefit. Still, Mr. Hernandez solidifies himself in the top spot of his division. Beer Mile stays at 2, up 2 game. Stays at number 1 in their division, up 2 games, even after dropping these last 2.
Yeah, Boss Bros not getting it done really helped the Beer Mile out. Like continue to carve out first in their division, which was helpful for them. And when you put up 141, can't be that mad.
No, certainly not. If there's one thing in fantasy football that you can take moral victories in, it's putting up a lot of points.
Yeah, 100%.
Was there any other game you want to talk about from week 9? Honestly, I did want to talk a little bit about Cookie Monster's game. Was close at first.
Yeah.
Between Justice Beaver. I think I checked before before Sunday Night Football. I think it was a 9-point difference. If Jane Daniels goes off and Bill has a great game, Cookie Monster might go down again.
Yeah. But Bill again did not perform when the lights were brightest, and you could hardly blame him. That offensive line is just not great.
No.
And then Jane Daniels, who was struggling all game, just trying to find open receivers, eventually went down with that really brutal injury.
Oh my gosh! Like I said in the Sunday recap, it's a graveyard in Team Justice Beaver with Scadaboo and now with Jaden Daniels going down.
Yeah.
Did we get a timetable for Daniels' injury? I'm not sure about.
I don't know.
It was
but
bad.
It looked bad.
It looked horrible. Yeah.
The only other game I really wanted to touch on was Baker May fuck you against the 4 Digs. This looked like it was open and shut going into Monday Night Football. And then at halftime, I think Baker May fuck you was actually up because of how well Jacoby Brissett was playing. And I really thought he might end up getting it done. But Dak and Javonte did just enough to get an ugly win, which would have been the ugly game of the week had it not been for my shit bowl.
That's right. Yeah, it's been tough sledding for Baker May fuck you. His team is in shambles. And you're relying on Jacoby Brissett. Obviously, teams are all relying on streaming quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So it sometimes comes down to that, but it's been so ugly. I mean, we'll get into the details in just a moment, but my gosh, he needed a win, and he needed an ugly one, and this one would have been a good chance to do it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I don't know where he goes from here. He's got a couple guys who maybe you could trade and package in, but he needs a Mecca Ibuka to come back in a big way.
Mm-hmm. That's right. He needs him to be a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Because I don't see one on his team.
No.
What do you think? Let's skip ahead now to week 10. Who or which matchup are you looking at as something to highlight?
Now, I know you had picked a matchup that looked pretty even. I did this last week, and I kind of want to do it again. I picked a matchup that looks really bad right now. The Taylor Park Boys in all of these games, week 10, are divisional games. So the Taylor Park Boys are going against Osama bin Hampton. Spread right now is 42.
Okay.
And the Osama bin Hampton right now has 2.
Why is this the game of the week then?
I just think it needed to be highlighted.
Did it need to be highlighted just to show that currently Osama bin Hampton is starting a player who is projected 0 points and who is
still
probably not going to play?
Still on the IR.
And is still in the IR?
A little bit, yeah. He's missing CeeDee Lamb, Chase Brown, and his pair of Tennessee Titans. So I just wanted to highlight this. He's starting 2 tight ends. Got a Garrett Wilson who's questionable to play and going against Cleveland. So even if he does, on paper, this should be an absolute curb stomping. But I did just want to highlight maybe maybe potential trap game.
If you were a betting man, are you betting the over on Taylor Park Boys?
Probably.
Yeah,
You've got the two Bears who we both said would do nothing last week, going against one of the worst defenses in the league, are with our beloved Giants.
correct.
And then you've got basically a full healthy team for the Taylor Park Boys, which we've not been able to say for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's been like the waiver wire savant so far, with adding Rico Dowdle, Daniel Jones, and his Bears tandem. So I just wanted to highlight this week just because of the crazy scoring difference that they're projected.
Yeah, that's a fair matchup. And not to mention, Taylor Park Boys is on a 5-game win streak.
Yeah,
He's
best
been
in
white
league.
hot. Yes, he's been white hot so far. Asylum Hampton has not been great, and he's been banged up. He's had a lot of injuries, so
Yeah.
he needs something. I don't know what it's gonna be. He's got to throw someone else in there. It's right now. Benson is still on IR.
Right.
I guess he's expecting. I don't know if he's got the inside scoop in Arizona.
Yeah. Maybe he's on the
he-
pulse. Like the Arizona beat writers are in his back pocket.
He could be, and he could, and maybe we just don't know. But as of right now, he's projected 86 points to 44 in difference. Yeah, this is certainly an interesting matchup.
Yeah, definitely one to watch.
My game of the week for Week 10, it was the Gritty Kings versus the Boss Bros. I chose the one that had the most stakes for the division. If Gritty Kings wins this one, then they overtake Boss Bros for that second spot in the division. This is division week for the league, so big matchups all around. Even though there's a lot of none of the 3-6 teams are really playing each other.
No, I think all of the 3-6 teams are playing a team with a different record.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting how this week shakes up because there's a ton of playoff implications on the line. Especially where if you get a win and you're a 3-6 team, there's a very good chance no one else wins, and you could solidify yourself way above a lot of other teams.
Yeah, we were talking about it before. It's a 3-6 team is close, not entirely, is close to making the playoffs right now if it ended today.
Yeah, I mean, two of them would get in off points for,
Mm-hmm.
but like even they're close in getting in off record
Yeah.
because the 6th seed right now is the Boss Bros, who we just talked about, and they're 4-5. It's just very top heavy in the league this year.
Yeah.
So that means there's a lot of bottom feeders who are really competing for the last couple spots.
Exciting stuff. So we'll see with this matchup. Obviously, Gritty Kings trying to come back. They are 4 of their last 5, 6 of their last 7, and it's a big week in their standing. So we'll keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, I think this game will be really close. Gritty Kings won in week 1, 115 to 106. So I'm sure the Boss Bros want to make it even. And I know we talked about this a little bit before. Boss Bros still keeping their streak alive.
It's a great shout. I don't know why I picked this as the game of the week because we know who's gonna win.
Right.
The Boss Bros are gonna win. They're the most consistent team in fantasy in the EFL.
They've just won one, lost one all the way since week 1, and this will be a great,
And it's crazy because the Gritty Kings is missing Jamar Chase and Patrick Mahomes.
Right, and he's had a good backup quarterback in Joe Flacco, but who's also on bye.
You can't tell. Boss Bro's gonna win. I'll bet the house on it. You bet the house last time. You would have won. You would have made all your money back, all 5 cents. And yeah, I don't know why it's the game of the week, but
Well, I think a little bit because our top 3 seeds are all playing 3-6 teams who are, trying to cut out some wins. There's just not a lot of close records in there, and even the one other game I wanted to maybe look at was Justice Beaver against you, actually, who right now has Matt Stafford, who I don't know if he either picked him up or
he's had him.
He's had him. Okay. But either way, that's a top 10 quarterback. He's got some running back questions with, DeAndre Swift questionable to play against the Giants. If he does play, that feels like a free 15.
Wheels up, yeah.
Aaron Jones got banged up in his last game. If he plays, the Baltimore defense has been pretty hit and miss. So I think as of now, he's projected to beat you. He also had your number a little bit earlier in the season in week 3, beating you handedly, like 118 to 85.
Yeah.
So this is another game to keep an eye out, especially with the projections being so close. But I feel like every other game, they're pretty lopsided in projections.
Yeah, I am missing T. Higgins and Travis Kelce this week. Those are 2 of my better players. Higgins has been huge for me since Flacco has came in. He's basically won me weeks. Kelce has been super steady. He's been really reliable. throwing in Harold Fannin against the Jets.
I feel like that could be
This
good.
could be good. The Jets did just go full fire sale.
Yeah.
And that could be a lot of points, or at least for the backup tight end, if I get 8, I'm like kind of happy. I'm probably gonna need a little bit more now that T Higgins is out.
Right.
Could be big though now with no Sauce and no Quinnen Williams.
100%. I will say, Brian Thomas against Houston.
There is it's a thought in
Okay.
my head. It's a thought of not playing him. It's now that Jacksonville. I mean, they brought in Jacoby Myers. He's already banged up. I don't know how it's gonna shake out at Houston, like you just said.
That's tough.
It's a tough matchup. So I have some questions, but it's definitely not a bad matchup. It's division week, so it should be fun.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's go into the power rankings. And Matt, would you like to do the honors of starting off the bottom 6?
Yeah, sure. So I've had a lot of trouble this week with, like we said,
We can preface this, right? Like you said, 3 teams. I'm sorry, half the league is 3 and 6.
half the league is 3 and 6. I wrote it here on my power rankings book. 7 through 12 is just gross. I had especially a lot of trouble ranking 7, 8, and 9. So starting off with 12 though, I mean, it doesn't change for me. Baker may fuck you, stays right where he is. His team's just not very good.
0 and 5 in the last 5 games. 83.72 points per game in those 5 games. He's last in points for. He's last in his division. When you look at his team, there's no defined wide receiver 1 or RB1. In the 3 games that Ibuka has played, he's averaging 5.4 points.
Wow. Yeah, it's not great.
No.
And, he has the 2 Denver running backs who you're basically playing, craps on who's going to score a touchdown. And then Romeo Doubs has been consistent. But, starting Kittle and Pitts in a week, I'm sure that'll change because he's got a Ibuka on his bench right now. But his team just doesn't have a lot of, impact players where, someone could go for 25 in a week.
Yeah, maybe Romeo Doubs, just to stay on this real quick, Doubs has at least a little bit more of the target share now that Kraft is out for the year. But I know that when one goes out, and that doesn't necessarily mean another one's going to get more pieces of the pie.
Right, especially with how many wide receivers the Packers have on their roster.
That's right. So maybe it shifts a little bit, but who knows?
Yeah, number 11, I've got the other Ryan in our league, Justice Beaver. This one, it's kind of tough to put him at 11, but he's just had so many injuries, and the roster's just not that good.
I would agree completely. It's just there's not a lot of upside there.
Right. I mean, you have Justin Jefferson, who, maybe McCarthy starts to build a connection with him. McCarthy looked good in their win over the Lions. And Olave, who, Rashid Shaheed gets shipped off. And Olave's actually been pretty consistent this year. So maybe he continues to build out like a piece of the Saints pie. And then upside, maybe some Troy Franklin late season. That was my guy. We traded him to Justice Beaver a couple weeks ago. So that's all I've got on Justice Beaver.
Fair enough.
Then I've got myself at 10. I wanted to put us higher than some of these other 3 and 6 teams, but we've got the second least points for it, and it was the ugliest win of the week. So you can't really put too much stake in that.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we told up all the week.
Yeah, 100%. Next 3 was really close, and I think I'm gonna let my second apology out on this podcast.
Please, floor is yours.
4 digs. I got you guys at 7. So apologies for a couple weeks ago putting you guys all the way at 12. That seemed a little bit short-sighted now. You guys have a good roster. They've got a couple running backs who are elite with Derrick Henry as your 3rd running back. It's pretty good. And then they've got 3 competent wide receivers, 2 of which are pretty high-end with Rashee Rice and Nico Collins. And then any given Sunday, Devonta Smith could go for 30.
You're an honorable man, see?
I can admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong.
People like authenticity.
Yeah. So they've got a solid team.
You hear that, 4 days? Can you stop complaining? Sorry.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. So they've got the 7 spot fairly locked up, and then also had trouble between 8 and 9. Gave the edge to Osama bin Hampton. I know his team's been banged up to hell, but I feel like as the weeks keep going, he's going to get a couple of his guys back. CeeDee Lamb, since he's been back, has been good. Garrett Wilson seems to be coming back this week. And then later on in the season, if he's still relevant later in the season, I'm talking about Osama bin Hampton. He gets his namesake back. Hampton probably slated to come back week 13 or 14, which could definitely be a help. And so I've got Gritty Kings rounding out the list at number 9.
That's no, I'm with you on that list. My bottom 6 is very similar. I'm in the same boat with Baker Mayfield in that 12th spot. I listed out all my points. It's not looking good for him. He has to make some change.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but there has to be some upside with his team, and I'm not seeing it.
He's got to sell the farm and move into a condo. That's kind of what's got to happen.
Well said. At 11, I have you. I have the Buck and the Duck. 1-4 in your last 5 games, 104 points per game in those 5. You said it, second to last in points for.
It's not great.
I think also to talk about is there haven't been a lot of points scored against you guys. It's 8th in points and 8th most points against. So you've had chances. So like in a vacuum, you've had chances to put up more points and win more games.
Yeah.
Second in points for will not do that. Last in your division. I said this before we started recording. I think your team has a lot of upside. Gibbs as a defined RB1. He had a horrible game, but that really doesn't happen. I think that's not even a floor game. That's a fluke.
Yeah, and
I like your boomer bust players too.
Yeah, me too. I've used this analogy a little bit with my teammate Bo. We're turning from like a nice car with a lot of issues into more of like a Toyota Camry where it's reliable and it'll get you from A to B. We're just trying to make the playoffs here.
At 2 and 6, you need a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, we just need a car with like 100,000 miles on it, that'll get you to your destination, which for us is just making the playoffs, avoiding the beer mile and Waffle House.
Just not losing. Maybe you can make some noise in the next few weeks.
Yeah, hopefully.
At number 10, I have Justice Beaver, so I just really had you guys flipped. They're 2 and 3 in the last 5, 111 points per game in those 5 games. 9th in points for, but they've had the most points scored against them. So they've gone the most unluckiest out of everyone. 3rd in their division. They have no defined RB1.
Right.
Now with Manungai in the mix, how much does that eat into Swift's workload? That it's still very up in the air on who gets the most. They could still benefit both of them. Maybe they both will just will play well.
Right.
But I think that's now a more crowded room. Their wide receivers are great. I do like Jefferson leads them. Olave now, like you said, maybe with the absence of Shaheed, gets even more of the pie, even though he was already getting a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to see him getting even more.
Sure.
But it could happen. Still, though, in that 10th spot. Number 9, I have Osama bin Hampton. He, in the last 5, has gotten wins. He's 3 and 2 in the last 5, but so far out of the last I got 109 points per game in those 5 games. 6th most points against them, so he's gotten kind of unlucky. Garrett Wilson being out has hurt his points per game total, even though he still squeaked out wins. He's really banged up. We'll see about this week. This could be a really low scoring game for him unless he figures out that running back position.
Yeah, and even if he does, he's starting 2 tight ends. He's got, really not a ton of great matchups, and he's going against a wagon.
Man, the 2 running back situation is very tough right now for him.
Yeah.
He's got to figure it out. But this is just another team with a 3 and 6, another 3 and 6 team. Looking at the 8th spot, I have Gritty Kings. Like 1 and 4 in their last 5 games. 117 points per game in those 5. If you take out last week, he was averaging 129 points per game. He was going crazy with points. He just got really unlucky.
Yeah, he got really unlucky, and he lost one of his best players in Tucker Kraft.
Yes.
So Alvin Kamara seems to not be what he was in terms of fantasy. Last 3 games, he's at 4, 5, and 0.2. With that 0.2 coming with a fumble also. Breece Hall has been great for him, and Jamar Chase has been good. Not necessarily great at where you drafted him, And then he's had the quarterback situation figured out, but outside of that, it's tough to find value.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the upside for his team isn't incredible. It just feels like he'll have a bunch of these floor games with that running back room you talked about. No Jamar Chase this week, no Mahomes, and a really a must win and kind of a must win situation. I know it's still very close in that division, but he's going to be struggling to get points.
100%.
Rounding out my bottom six is Four Diggs. So I agree with you that Four Diggs deserve to get some more love. We get it. They're 2-3 in the last 5. Since Rashee Rice has come back, they are 2-1. Rice has been a stud.
He's been nuts.
I think he's been averaging over 18 points per game in those 3.
Yeah, he's averaging 19.1. He's been great.
He's been really good. 108 points per game in the last 5, so they have been putting a lot of points. I thought in the Sunday recap, I said that they were projected for 120 with a Dak and a Javonte, a good game, or I guess even like a kind of floor game.
Right.
That didn't happen. They stunk it. The Cowboys stunk it up. So they got capped off by that. They probably would be, I don't know, closer to 115 if Dak and Javonte did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, Dak's been slow the last 2 games.
He has been, which
like
is
7 and 17 from your quarterback. Not great. I could see them sort of maybe pivoting from maybe getting a different quarterback.
I could see that too. There are a few teams that have two good quarterback options that they could be talking to, 100%. And they have the depth to trade.
Right.
You said it. Their running back room is great. Now that Rashee Rice is a 1, Nico Collins doesn't have to be that 1.
Right.
And if Nico is like a low 1 or like at this point he's really like a mid 2 or a high 2, still that's great. And I think they have a really balanced out team. Their tight end position is definitely up in the air a little, but their squad is good. They're just outside the top 6 for me, but for upside, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, they're definitely my favorite right now to make a push and maybe even make some damage in the top 6 seeds as the weeks go on.
Yeah, I'll start off with the top 6 for entering week 10. I have the Boss Bros. It feels fitting. They are the most consistent team in the EFL. We said this before. They lost last week. They continued their stretch of win 1, lose 1. 2-3 in the last 5 games, 110 in those last 5. 6th in points for and 6th in points against.
Wow.
They are perfectly mid. And every league needs that.
Yeah.
It's like a balance point. You know what you're gonna expect from the Boss Bros.
Right.
Like, not a lot of upside with that team. I still love their receivers. I mean, Romo Dunze, 0 points. I don't see that happening again.
No.
They have a really solid team, and that Saquon was on a bye, so that hurt their point total. But I think they're still at a good spot in that top 6. They were really high for me last week. They drop a decent bit, but I still am pretty high in the Boss Bros.
Yeah, I also have them at 6. They've got some heavy hitters in Lamar, Saquon, and Drake London's been absolutely crazy the last couple of weeks.
He's just such a dog. He has the tools of every wide receiver, every good wide receiver. He's got like a little bit of like the Puka and the Amon-Ra. He can go over the middle of the field. He can get those tough yards.
Yeah.
But then he can still stretch the field too.
Right. And you look at his last 4 games that he's played in, his targets are so juicy. Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. It's 10, 16, 10, and 4.
You love to see that out of your wide receiver 1. He's a true alpha, and when you have that consistent of a player, even though he's had weird games with Darnell
100%.
Mooney,
Yeah,
you can still rely on him. He should still be fine the rest of the season.
yeah.
Number 5, I have me. I'm the Sweet 16. I'm 5th in points for. I've gotten pretty lucky. 9th most points against. So I'm in that bottom part of teams that have played. I'm 4 my last 5 games. 119 points in those last 5 games. So I've put up some points. I will say I've had a lot of touchdown luck with T. Higgins. I remember in the week against you, I had Josh Downs, Khalil Shakir all get touchdowns and have, especially from Shakir, breakout games. But I've gotten really good consistent work from Jacobs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who have been just my steady eddies so far since making that trade with with Baker. I'm sorry I laugh, but like it's really helped me. It's changed my season.
Yeah, it's locked up your running back one, which I think has been super helpful for you, especially having so much wide receiver depth.
Yeah.
I feel like you had to make a trade at some point, and getting such a consistent guy like Josh Jacobs was exactly what you needed.
Number 4, I have the Taylor Park Boys. This was tough for me. I was in between putting them here or moving them up, so I eventually stuck them to where they were last week for me. They are the hottest team in the EFL.
100%.
5-0. 133 points per
Oh
game
my God.
in the last 5 games. That is second in that stretch. Third in points for. They've gotten the luckiest, but with being 11th in points against, so second least team in teams that have scored against them. But they're still such a high scoring team, it wouldn't even matter.
Right.
They would most likely still be in this exact position.
Yeah.
And they're a team that I think you'll talk about a little bit more, and we touched on it, have utilized the waiver wire, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
And that's part of playing fantasy is being on top of it. And they've got big games for Rico, of course. Daniel Jones has been nothing short of incredible. So with losing Joe Burrow, they've picked it up with Jones, and Dowdle has slid into that running back 2 slot.
Yeah, he's been a really, you hit on a couple of picks with Jonathan Taylor and Puka, and the rest of his team going into the year didn't seem to be that extraordinary. But, that's why the waiver wire exists. He's done a great job at capitalizing when he can. So the team's been great. And, you said it yourself, 5-game win streak is just nuts.
Number 3, I have hanging with Mr. Hernandez. They are the next hottest team. Another team has got 4 wins in that 5-game stretch. 116.84 points per game. And they would be up to 126 minus that 78-point win, that stinker they had a couple weeks ago. 4th in points for, 5th most points against too. So teams are putting up a lot of points against hanging with Mr. Hernandez. Yeah, he's putting them up, and he's just having a lot of great success. He's got a really good running back room.
Yeah.
Judkins leads the way. Kyron Williams and his number 1 pick, Bijan Robinson, have been excellent. And Jalen Waddle has come along really strongly for him.
Right, and then he gets Brock Bowers back in a big way last
Sure.
week, putting up basically
40,
as much as he had in the last 8 games combined.
That's right.
Puts it up, and seems like he's back, and they trade Jacoby Myers away. So it feels like Brock Bowers is going to have a huge piece of the pie the rest of the season.
Yeah, rounding out my top 2, it's stayed the same. It's still We Want the Beer Mile at 2. He's struggled in the last 5, 2 and 3. He's still putting up a good amount of points, 123 points in those last 5. 2nd in points for, and teams are putting up a lot of points against him. 4th most points against. He's still just a wagon. I mean, I think we're going to say this every week. Before the season started, we thought he was going to be one of the worst teams in the league.
100%.
And his team has just been putting up points, killing people left and right. He's still 6-3, so he's still that top spot. Only 2 games ahead. I think it's the Boss Bros in his division. Yeah, he's been really good, but on a bit of a slow stretch so far.
100%.
Number 1, I have the Cookie Monster. Not a lot really to say here. First in points for, 4-1, 133.25 points per game in the last 5. It's the most in that stretch of games. His wide receiving core had their buys and everything, so they're locked and loaded.
Yeah.
H and CMC still have to have their buys, so they're split up, so he'll be fine. And even if he drops those 2 games, who cares? He's the best team in the league, and there's no stopping him.
It's not that close. I mean, he already on the year has put up a crazy amount of points for. 1165 is just already ridiculous this many games into the season. He's got those 2 running backs who are both averaging over 17 points a game. And like you said, his wide receiving room is just nuts. It's just not even fair how many picks he hit on.
No, it's been so good.
I'd be super scared right around the trade deadline if he makes one trade, gets him a 3rd wide receiver 1. I'd be scared.
Sure.
I'm scared right now.
Yeah, he's got the depth to do it, to get rid of a couple guys on his bench to a team that needs some wins.
Right.
That he can make an upgrade. Oh, man.
I looked at the Gritty Kings, having Jamar Chase, and I know he said he didn't want to move him earlier in the year, but, If you're staring a beer mile in the face,
And you lose this week too.
maybe a different scenario.
Yeah, surely. All right. I know we have the same top 6, but who are your top 5?
Yeah. So I had Boss Bros at 6, like we said. I've got you also at 5. Big riser from last week, where I put you at all the way at 7. Your team's good. I really like your wide receivers, and like we said, Josh Jacobs is a cornerstone RB1.
Yeah.
4, I also have the Taylor Park Boys. Some things I wanted to mention here. Starting the year and to now, only 3 of his players are still on the roster in his starting lineup. So he picked up Daniel Jones, picked up Rico Dowdle, picked up Colston Loveland, Kyle Monungai. He is just a waiver wire savant. Mason Taylor, Kayshawn Booty. These are all guys he's picked up, and they've all been great. We chat on him earlier last week. Kyle Monungai was great and seems to have cut off at least a split backfield. Colston Loveland seemed to just be a plug and play for Mason Taylor on bye, is now still in his lineup because oh my gosh. Turns out he's nuts.
Yeah.
They just had to give him the ball.
Game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
He's reliable.
And then, Rico Dowdle has definitely taken the backfield over from Hubbard, which honestly, I think he'd rather have, because it's tough if you don't have a definite RB1 and you have both running backs in that backfield.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really good, 5-0 in his last 5. I would not want to play him.
We got to see about the pace that Rico Dowdle's on. Like, what his pace from when he first came in as the RB1 for the Panthers to the end of the season. What is that like? Because really, Taylor Park Boys could have 2 RB1s.
Yeah. I mean,
Dowdle could finish in the top 12.
They gave him the ball 25 times against the Packers. He had more rushing yards than Bryce Young had passing yards. And he had 2 touchdowns. I mean,
that might be just more of a knock on Bryce Young, too.
I'm not going to say that. They got the win, so that's what matters. A win is a win is a win, like I like to say. His team is just nuts. I just don't see him slowing down. And then for 3, I've got the same, hanging with Mr. Hernandez. My one thing that I had him at 2 right before we were about to shoot and knocked him down to 3, mainly just because I don't love having Debo at his wide receiver 2. The Jaden Daniels injury, I don't see
That's
Debo carving out a huge role on this team. Like last 3 weeks, he hasn't hit 8 points. But his running back room is sick. He's got Brock Bowers. Caleb Williams has really turned it on in the last couple of weeks. So I've got him like comfortably at 3. And 2, same thing as you, beer mile. They made that trade with me. Not looking great so far, but it's early. I'm going to give me some time before we...
Well, looking great for the beer mile.
Yeah, definitely looking great for the beer mile. They've got Bucky Irving slated to maybe come back this week, but let's be honest, they don't even need him.
No, they don't. They
You
have
know-
2 great running backs right now. Like, they're fine.
Jalen Warren has been like a touchdown monster. Ashton Genty could go for 30 on any given week. And their wide receivers, Michael Pittman, sneakily is putting up 13.6 and is the 6th rated wide receiver.
That is the biggest thing, is with the success of Daniel Jones comes the success of the Colts weapons.
Yeah.
And Pittman, who has been the receiver who's gone the dirty work, gets all the middle of the field, the intermediate stuff.
Yep.
Has seen a big jump, and he's been super consistent for them.
Yeah, and then, they've got George Pickens, who's been clear-cut wide receiver 1 in fantasy, and having a top 3 tight end. I know a lot of people didn't love the fact that they took Trey McBride over Brock Bowers, but that seems like that was a good move, especially for consistency-wise.
Correct.
And then having Josh Allen as your quarterback is a great way to round out a team.
Yeah, it looks really good for him.
Yeah. But it's still nowhere near Cookie Monster.
No.
Cookie Monster is nuts. We talked about it earlier. I don't need to continue, beating a dead horse, but their team is just absolutely sick.
They're a horse, all right. Your weakest position is Hunter Henry, I guess. And maybe your flex with Metcalf, because he could be a little bit more boom or bust. But if that's coming out of your flex, a boom or bust guy with DK and Hunter Henry with Drake May, who's been playing at an MVP level, you're looking pretty right now.
Yeah, and like I said when I was talking about Taylor Park Boys, I would not want to play this team, but I do. I played them twice in the next 3 games.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So not
Twice
looking
the next 3.
twice in the next 3.
Oh, you're gonna be having a great time.
Yeah, so we've got our full roster going against them, and we're still getting 21 points.
Projected 136 points for Cookie Monster. He's a great team.
He's a wagon.
He's a wagon. Yeah. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to hit on with these teams? I think we did a good job recapping. Of course, this will all slam into our faces on Sunday. Everything will be wrong.
I'm sure I've said 5 things that will just absolutely be incorrect.
It'll come up on the Sunday recap for next week, and we'll look stupid again. I don't know why I keep doing this. Anyway, Matt, that's gonna wrap things up on the EFL report on the way. Thank you so much for joining me once again.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll talk to you later. Bang.